Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this video. So this is a video where I actually give you a little review of the Logitech G29 and the shifter. So the shifter is actually compatible with the G29 or the G920. So the G920 is actually the one for PC and Xbox, and the G29 actually is the one for PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and PC. So yeah, let's just do a little review out of it right away. The box, when you get the box looks pretty nice and clean. It definitely put some work in it instead of those stupid cardboard boxes. These ones are really nice, and unboxing them is actually really easy because everything is right on top. But yeah, let's actually talk about the shifter first. So, just like I said, the Logitech shifter is compatible with both of the steering wheels. I don't know if it's compatible with the G27 or the G25 as well. Probably not, because you need all the buttons for it. But actually, like I'm showing you right here, when you don't like the normal shifter, you can actually just grab a screwdriver and just get the little top off, and then there's one screw in the middle, and when you screw it up, it actually reveals well, just the normal stick under there. And as you actually can see, it actually has a flat side, so when you want to, you could actually put a real shifter on there for the better feeling, or just for the better looks if you want to. But right away out of the box, the shifter feels really nice. So when you actually just play around with it, it actually stays in position quite nice. It doesn't have any weeble wobble. The most of that actually is in gear number 3 or 4, but beside of that, it's actually really stiff and feels really nice. So the reverse is a little different, because it's actually, instead of pushing it down to the first gear, it's actually to number 6, which is a bit weird. But yeah, actually, yeah, as you can see here, I actually show off the little clamps, so they're actually really nice and useful as well. Yeah, it's really easy. You just screw them tight, and you think like, oh my god, so ugly, these knobs stay up. But if you actually push them down and turn to the right, they lock in position, so they stay nicely smooth, and they're not really in the way at all. So as you can see, they're on the steering wheel, and the same ones on the shifter. The shifter are actually a little different, because you have to push them down all the way and turn them all the way to the right till they actually click up a bit, because the ones on the steering wheel actually are really easy. They actually go down, you turn them to the right, and you just release them. But the one on the shifter are actually, yeah, they need to be pushed down far a lot till you have to click, and then all the way to the right, and if it's good, they will click into a little position. So on the bottom of the shifter, you actually have 1, 2 that you have to screw tight, which of course is the other direction because it's upside down, which just keeps it from tilting on your desks. So the steering wheel itself actually is really nice, and if you actually turn it on, as you can see here, it just goes from one side to the other side. But probably, yeah, the reason why I choose the steering wheel is because all the buttons and the material, because almost the most parts of the pedals and the steering wheel are made of aluminium and leather, which actually is just pure quality. So the buttons actually on the steering wheel are actually quite nice as well. They're not gonna break that soon. Maybe the blue ones underneath, the L3 and the R3, are gonna break really soon. But beside of that, the shifter pedals, all the other buttons, they just feel really nice and really strong. Mostly the shifter pedals as well, because they're actually made out of aluminium as well, which feels really nice and looks really nice as well. The gap between them is a little different, but it's actually okay. So let's actually go to the pedals. The pedals actually are really nice. The gas pedal really feels like a gas pedal. The brake really feels like a brake, and the clutch just feels like a clutch. But the special thing about the brake actually is that it has a rubber dome underneath. So when you press it all the way, you actually feel that it gets really heavy on the end, which gives you that real nice feeling. Beside of that, they're just really good pedals, and they stay in place. And if you are on carpet, then you actually have this little thing on the bottom, which you can see right now, which actually makes it easier to grip on or stay on the carpet. So that's a real nice thing they actually put on that as well. And if you don't want to scratch or damage your floor, you can actually click it away, as you can see. And of course, if you have like a real setup, there are holes underneath which you could screw bolts in, so you actually can put them tight onto a plate. So, of course, this gear steering wheel is not a 90-degree steering wheel or actually a 180-degree steering wheel. It's a 900, so it actually goes really far, but it goes really realistic. So it doesn't go too far. It actually stays nice in place. It works fine. It looks good. And yeah, it really gives you that real nice feeling with the two force feedback motors in, which actually are really silenced because of the special teeth that they used. But they actually do make a little noise, which you know you will hear later on in this video. But yeah, it's just real nice that it's quite silenced actually normally. But if you hit a curb or anything like that, it starts to make quite a noise because I think the teeth have a little bit of play between them or something like that, or I don't know what it is, but it sounds pretty bad. But beside of that, the steering wheel is really nice, and the drivers actually are really nice as well. And as you can see here, I actually damaged it a little bit, so be careful with it though, because I damaged it already on the first few days. But yeah, let's get over to the software. The software to download itself doesn't work to me. It's really annoying and it doesn't download that good at all. But the software, if you have a keyboard or a headset of Logitech, you probably already have it. But if you don't, then yeah, just search a bit till you can find the one that actually does work. But you can actually, if you got it all ready up and it works, you actually got quite a nice few amount of options that you could do to like that you don't have to go in a game and every time you have to reset all your controls, but you just like Dirt 3 or like any other game like that, you can actually just like get the shortcut in here and like bind all the keys in the driver itself if you want to, which is actually a really nice I don't know how everything works yet because I don't use it myself, but actually that they put it in it is actually really nice and pretty cool. So sadly enough, there are LEDs on the steering wheel, and sadly enough, which I don't understand, is that they don't work with every game. Only new games, like the Crew, which I showed you actually the steering wheel on. It works fine on the Crew, but like other games like Assetto Corsa or Test Drive Unlimited 2 or Dirt 3 or Grid Autosport, they actually won't work, which I don't understand because the G25 and the G27 had the same LATs. So, and they actually worked on those games. So why doesn't it work on this game? But if you want to know anyway, this is what it looks like when you're in game. So in the Crew, just two dots always stay on. But when you go accelerating, when you actually accelerate, you know, they come closer together till the point where they turn red. That's the point where you actually shoot shift, and when they start to blink, then you really know that you're on the maximum RPM and that you just need to shift. But it's just a funny extra, and it's not really that needed that you really need to have this. But for me, it's just cool, and I just want it to work because it looks awesome and it's just funny to have in any game. Not that I would actually use it. Well, maybe I would because of the blinking. Actually, you could see a little bit, but the distance you sit behind the steering wheel, you might not see it, or you might do. But still, it's pretty cool. So the steering wheel itself, the force feedback, is really powerful. Like the steering wheel is pretty big, but not that big. It's like not really realistic big. Like the Trustmaster T300 or T500, they're pretty realistic, but I just didn't like that because that's my personal choice, because I don't like the plastic and the rubber, but I really like the aluminium and the leather. Or sorry, I meant the steel and rubber, because I don't know if it's actually of plastic or steel. I really don't know. But the pedals actually on the Logitech are much better, or actually the ones that you get on the beginning, because you know they actually stick in place. And I tried the Trustmaster as well, and I broke the pedals on my old Trustmaster steering wheel like in 1 week because they just wouldn't stay in place, which is really annoying. But yeah, so the steering wheel itself doesn't come with a shifter already, like unlike the Logitech 20 G25 and G27, which do come with it. But this is actually an option which you could do for another $50. So I actually ordered the G27, but thanks by mistake, because they couldn't order it anymore. Long story, I actually got the G29, and they said to me that they were only gonna send the G29 and not the shifter. So I thought, well, fuck it anyway, I'm gonna get the shifter because I really want the shifter. Manual for the win, right? So I got the shifter itself, and in many games it works, like the Crew, Test Drive, Assetto Corsa, a few games not, which are those arcadey games. But you could actually, like, the things where you actually like screwed it on the table with, you could actually leave those up and put an elastic around it and around the back, and you could actually make it like a handbrake or something silly like that. But it works pretty fine, and yeah, the steering wheel runs really good. The force feedback is really strong by its two engines, but yeah, the grinding gear it makes sometimes is a bit less, which I'm just gonna listen, what you're gonna just listen in the next clip. So I'll just shut up for a minute, finally. But it actually feels like pretty good materials. It's pretty solid. It stays in place really nice. So yeah, to me it's a real good steering wheel. But let's just listen to the sound it makes sometimes. Pretty bad, right? So yeah, that was actually a little bit of the review about the steering wheel. Right now on the end you just see a funny little paint job that I did on the Porsche to make it literally like Liberty Walk style. But anyway, the steering wheel is really nice, and the cables and everything like that is really nice setup as well, because everything goes under the steering wheel, which I sadly enough didn't show you. Really sorry about that, but yeah, it's pretty nice done anyway. But yeah, so the steering wheel actually works with the PS4 and the PlayStation and the PS3. If it works with the PlayStation 2, I don't really know. You can try it out. But if I play Gran Turismo 6, it actually works on Gran Turismo 6. It doesn't work that great because, like I just said, it's a new steering wheel. It's a new platform. Well, it's not a new platform anyway, but it's like the G27 actually, but it's a bit different, and they did some different things about it. They gave it a little different drivers. So some games actually the buttons on the steering wheel, in some games they won't work. Like Gran Turismo 5, I can play around with the buttons for a bit, but when I actually want to set like the scroll wheel and the enter button or buttons like that, they won't work. The same for the shifter. The shifter won't work for Gran Turismo 6, which is quite sad, but that's just a problem that some games still have. But to me, the steering wheel is really nice and definitely worth the money. If I actually hope it doesn't break soon or something because of the weird grinding sound of the gears, which is really one of the only minus point that this steering wheel has. So the steering wheel itself feels really nice. The shifter feels really nice. The buttons on the steering wheel is cool, but there's also a thing which I still don't understand which is why won't the LEDs work in every game? Like, hey, it's the platform of the G25/G27, right? So why won't it work with, like, why won't it work with Assetto Corsa? Well, the Logitech G27 does work with it. Those are just things that I don't understand. But beside of that, the steering wheel is really nice. It's made of real good quality. It feels nice in your hands. The leather, it's really nice, and because of those little holes in it, it doesn't feel sweaty at all. So the steering wheel itself is it's a real nice steering wheel. So if you have the G25 or the G27 and you're thinking of getting a new steering wheel but you don't quite know, then don't do it, because it's actually just the same, but the buttons are on the steering wheel and it's a little bit different made and stuff like that. But if you're really looking in for a new steering wheel and you don't know which one to get, then I really prefer the G29. Unlike it's a little bit more expensive than the G27 and the G25, it actually is a lot of fun. And thanks by its little upgrades, it definitely makes it worth it. And if you live where I live, in the Netherlands, in Holland, then getting the Logitech G25 or the Logitech G27 can be a pain in the ass, because they don't order it anymore and it takes literally like a year before they get it in storage back again. So it's pretty hard to get steering wheel. So now we have the Logitech G29 and the G920. Well, of those two, I really prefer the G29 because of all the other extra buttons, and just because my personal opinion, the blue aluminium and the blue buttons, which really finish the steering wheel off. So yeah, that was the review for today. So I hope you enjoyed this review. I hope you actually know what you want to buy or what you want to get right now. So I hope this little review actually helped you out for a bit. So thank you guys for watching, and see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.